What's up, you guys? Sam here with a new video today, and we're here to talk about why TRICKSTAR, more importantly, why pure TRICKSTAR won the World Championship of 2018. As I've done with all these past videos of why this deck won this certain event, I'm here to analyze the deck and tell you guys my personal thoughts as to some gathered data as to why this particular deck won the said event. And this is actually the most important event of the year after Nationals, depending on how you look at it. This is the most prestigious event in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! This is the World Championship. This is what it's all about, you guys. We play through regionals, we grind through YCSs, we make it to Nationals to allow the top 6 players, plus the additional players that get to go for collecting Worlds points, to have the honor of representing the U.S. or wherever you're from in the World Championship. And it's like an elite amount of people. I believe it's no more than 24 or 26. I'm not sure. Someone correct me if I got the number wrong, but I believe it's somewhere in that range. I believe it's under 30 that get to, go to the World Championship. And then the winner is the world champion for all of 2018. Unfortunately, the U.S. has never won. Again, we came up short again. Bowden, God bless Bowden. Shout out to Bowden. I really wanted him to win with Altergeist. Unfortunately, he ended up losing to time and to just the way the event went in the finals. He ended up losing to pure TRICKSTAR, and this is the deck I have here before you. Congratulations to Wang Chia-Ching. I hope I said your name correctly. He is your 2018 World Championship champion, you guys, and he won with pure TRICKSTAR. And we're here to talk about why this deck won the event, because I think it threw everyone off. I think a lot of people were not prepared for TRICKSTAR, let alone pure TRICKSTAR, to do anything, because if you guys don't know, you are under the world's ban list, and the way it works is they combine the TCG and the OCG ban list, and basically they come to like a compromise on cards. Like, biggest example is that TRICKSTAR Reincarnation, while here in the TCG we have it at 3, in Japan they only have it at 1. Therefore, for the world's ban list, they will only have it at 1 copy. Due to things like that, a lot of people kind of ruled out TRICKSTARs. The reason why TRICKSTARs is so powerful for us here in TCG is we have 3 Reincarnations, we have 3 Terraformings. That was another card that is limited to 1 in OCG, so you can only play 1 copy in Japan. So therefore, at the Worlds, you can only play 1 copy. So therefore, your access to light stage is really limited. Now, the thing is that even though with all these factors, this deck still came out on top, and we're going to talk about the reasons why. First thing we'll do is go over the deck list, and then we're going to analyze why this deck did so well. I think it's amazing that TRICKSTAR's won. Again, shout out to Wang, because he built a hell of a deck. And you guys can see, if you're already looking at the deck list, since I have it here on the screen, you can see why the deck did so well. It set out to do exactly what you needed to do to win Worlds, and I will explain that as we progress through the video. But anyways, hope you guys continue to enjoy this segment. You guys know what to do. Leave your support with a like and a comment. So we're going to get into the deck. 1 copy of Cyber Dragon, 3 Candina, 2 Lycris, 2 Ash. Ash is only at 2 in the Worlds list. 2 copies of Ogre, 3 Cherries, 2 Ghost Bell, 1 Lily Bell, 2 Droll&Lock, 2 Effect Veiler, 3 Eater a Million. That's it for the monsters. For the spells, 2 copies of Desires, the 1 Terraforming, 2 copies of Scapegoat, 3 Light Stage. That's it for the spells. For the traps, triple Impermanence, the 1 Reincarnation, triple Gozen Match, double Strike, strikes at 2 in the Worlds list, if you guys didn't know, 1 Solemn Judgment, 1 Solemn Warning to round out 42 cards. Extra deck is 1 Mega Fleet, the Utopia package, which I think was really interesting, 1 Ningirsu, 1 Triple Burst Dragon, the Unicorn, the Holly Angel, the Phoenix, the Azolde, the Cerebus, the Mrs. Radiant, the Goblin, the Kagari, the Link Spider, the Link Karibo. Side deck was the 2nd Cyber Dragon, triple Inspector Border, the 3rd Effect Veiler, 2 copies of Mind Control, 1 lone copy of Shared Ride. Talk about that later. That was a little interesting. 1 copy of Book of Moon, 2 copies of Evenly Matched, 2 copy of Heavy Storm Tester, 1 Needle Ceiling, and 1 Imperial Order. So that's for the whole deck. Now to analyze it. Why did this deck win the World Championship? Well, number 1, I've already pretty much mentioned it. No one counted on TRICKSTARs. Everyone thought the best decks for the event were Goki, Sky Striker, and Altergeist. Clearly, Altergeist and Goki were the most represented, followed by, I believe there was 1 or 2. I don't know how many strikers there were. There weren't that many, and there was only 1 lone TRICKSTAR, and that was Wang, who ended up winning the whole event, so it's pretty crazy. There were only 2 TRICKSTARs, I believe, in the entire Worlds, and I believe one of them was a TRICKSTAR Sky Striker, so it wasn't even pure. If you guys can see, this is pure. Now, why did this win? There are several reasons why, and one thing we'll get right into is that this deck While it can only run one copy of Reincarnation and one copy of Terraforming, the rest of its engine is still intact. He chose to only play 2 Lycras, which is crazy, but I guess it was under the same mentality we played here in the TCG, that you actually just don't want to open this card. You want to search it and then use its effect later on in your turn. Other reasons are that this deck plays a plethora of hand traps. We are counting 2 Ash, 2 Ogres, 3 Winter Cherries, that's already 7, 2 Ghost Bells, that's 9, 2 Drolls, that's 11, and 2 Veilers, that's 13. He played 13 hand traps, you guys. 13, and if you count impermanence, that's 16 hand traps, you guys. That's almost 50% of the deck is hand traps, and that's insane. But for this particular event, this particular tournament, for the end of the year, the end of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dueling season, this is exactly what you needed to win Worlds. You needed this because if everyone was going to be on Goki, you needed to stop Goki. And what's the best way to stop Goki? It's all here. Ash isn't that great. Ogre is good at particular times if you know what's Ogre, i.e. the Firewall or the Isolde second effect. Cherries is insane. You cherries the Isolde, they really fall bar behind. Bell is actually one of the only hand traps. It only works really well against Goki, to be honest. It works against Called by the Grave, but it's amazing against Goki because you hit the rematch, which is nuts. Joel and Locke is self-explanatory. It combos with the 1 Reincarnation. And Veiler is just another really solid card that, like Impermanence, it doesn't do what Ghost Ogre or Ash does. It actually just flat out negates the effect of the monster on field, which I think is insane. Ogre is a great card, but it doesn't negate, whereas Veiler does, and I think that was huge for this tournament. His ratios on hand traps were great. Again, Ash is only at 2, but Ash is really not that good against Goki, so the rest of these hand traps pretty much cover the Goki matchup, and I think that's why he went in being able to pretty much just dominate against that deck. Also, if you look at the applications of a lot of these cards, Ogre is actually somewhat decent against Altergeist as well as Ash if you know what to hit. They're definitely not the best cards against the deck, but being able to Ash a multi-faker, Ogre a multi-faker, or whatever is really, really solid. Or being able to Ghost Ogre a personal spoofing or a protocol or whatever it is just really, really good. So for that reason, I feel that this ratio of hand traps just worked out really, really well for him. And other reasons, just in the monster lineup, the 1-tech Cyber Dragon was insane because it let him completely out the Goki board by summoning Mega Fleet, which I think was nuts. A lot of people probably didn't see that coming. He would just special it, break the U board, and then, continue to play. Also, Eater of Millions, which is an MVP card. This card is just nuts. I think a lot of people really just kind of just don't pay attention to this card, and it just will get you anytime. If your opponent plays Desires, you just summon it, it already comes out big. You banish some of yours, it already comes out at 1,500 minimum, and I mean, its ability to just, get rid of cards as easily as it does is amazing. So I think a lot of people were just not prepared for this card, and this card really did put in a lot of work for weighing over the weekends. I think it was just nuts. Overall, the monster lineup I think was very, very solid. Again, he only played 2 Lycras for the reason I mentioned, but I think overall the monster lineup was damn near perfect. It covered all the bases you wanted to do in a TRICKSTAR deck, and because of that, he had maximum consistency that he could have. And I say that because with the limitations, he had to play what was at his disposal. The 2 Desires, self-explanatory. You draw into your cards. You only have 1 copy of Terraforming, so you have to play it to get to your 3 Light Stage. So you only have 4 copies of Light Stage. Technically 7, I guess, if you count Candina. But I mean, again, it's just really solid in general. And even though it's limited, you were still able to do what you needed to do. Scapegoat is self-explanatory. That card should be at 1 or at none. And then his traps. And his traps, I feel, are another reason why he did so well. Impermanence was probably the most popular trap card that everyone pretty much played. The card was nuts, being able to just, stop your opponent. They can't Call by the Grave it. And it just does so much for every deck it's played in. Reincarnation is self-explanatory, but the all-star for him was Gozen Match. And Gozen Match is nuts. It is broken against Altergeist. All the Altergeist monsters are different types. And not only that, it's able to shut down a Goki board. This plus one of these pretty much just breaks the board right there. Gozen plus Strike, it's just insane. Gozen plus Impermanence, insane. Like, you're able to just negate the Tri-Gate, flip Gozen, clear their whole board, and then just continue to play, and you're constantly getting your resources through Candina, through your Lily Bell, through your Lycras, etc., and you're burning away your opponent's life points in the process. So I think overall the main deck is self-explanatory, that it became almost like an anti-meta TRICKSTAR deck that was able to shut down the entire format of Worlds, and I feel that that's why he did so well. And in the finals, it was demonstrated with how powerful Gozen Match was. And then even though he won due to the time rules, Bowden even said in his profile that he was in a losing position either way. But I think it's pretty crazy that overall, not only Gozen, but Eater of Millions was able to put in the most work to really just, carry the victory home for him. So overall, I think that's why the main deck did so well. Other reasons I'll say, and of course it's going to be one of the degenerate reasons, you are playing Trickstar. You are playing a deck that burns your opponent, and that extra burn damage adds up, as we all know all too well. I have, changed over to being a Trickstar player. I played Trickstar at Worlds. At Nationals, I played it there. I played it at one of the previous YCSs, the Trickstar Sky Striker deck, and I could really see how you could just steal games by just the extra burn damage. And I'm not even talking about burning them in time. I'm talking about just the extra burn damage and then just attacking with everything for game, which I think was nuts. Lycris and Candina do that amazingly, and I feel that was another factor, is that the burn damage you take from the Trickstar monsters is enough to, sway the victory in your favor. So I think that was also really good. I feel that overall this deck was really well built for the current Worlds format, and I feel that that's one of the main reasons it did so well. Other reasons, I already mentioned it. People were not siding properly for this deck. People were not respecting this deck. And again, when you don't respect a deck in Yu-Gi-Oh!, you do not prepare for a deck that's going to be played at a tournament. You're going to lose to it most likely, or you're going to be completely dumbfounded when you play against it. And I feel that that's exactly what happened. I think everyone who played against this deck was dumbfounded and just didn't know what to do. And I think because of those reasons, it was able to take it all the way home and get a victory. The extra deck, there's not really a lot to talk about. He's got the cherry targets, the Kagari, the Azolde for Goki, and just whatever. I think this was really interesting, the Utopia package. And you guys are thinking, when is the Utopia package going to come up? Well, if you somehow stick to Candinas, or you have a Candina and you reincarnation back a Candina, I guess you can just go into Utopia Lightning, and then that 5k is huge, so it could just push for games where other cards could not. So I think overall made an extra, covered all its bases. Now the side deck was really interesting. Inspector Border, you guys already know this card is nuts, not only in the mirror match if one did come up, but it's also insane against Ultrageist. Is very hard to out this card. The card is just nuts, and I feel that was definitely one of the MVP cards for him. Bowden just got unlucky with Lullaby of Obedience, but had it not been for that, he probably would have been able to, win the game, because being able to get his opponent's Inspector Border back would have been nuts. So, card's insane. Another Cyber Dragon to help him with his ratios to drawing it to outing the U board with Mega Fleet. Also, this card's just really solid against Trickstar in general as well. So more hand traps, cards that, he's even cited in Mind Control. These cards help you clear the boards of problematic monsters. You link away with them. So I think it's really cool. I think what he did was really cool. He Mind Controlled, and then he used it with Eater of Millions. That's something a lot of people forget about, is that you can Mind Control your opponent's monsters and then banish them for Eater of Millions. So I think that was really solid. I thought the weirdest thing in the side deck was the one copy of Shared Ride and the one copy of Needle Stealing. You can see where he really kind of teched out his side deck. There was also the Book of Moon. I love Book of Moon. No complaints. Card's great. Shared Ride, I guess it was there as against Sky Striker, against the Mirror, against whenever they add cards. I don't really need to explain it. I just thought it was weird that there was only one copy, and that's just something I wanted to talk about. But to each his own. And then I think the Needle Stealing was interesting. I feel that this was another way for him to out a board. This was Strike. He could just activate it, destroy all face-up monsters. Opponent would try to negate, and then you just chain Strike or whatever, and you just win. So this is a very interesting call. Order is self-explanatory. It just destroys Sky Strikers. Heavy Storm Duster is an insane card. It's also really good with Reincarnation. You guys know the combo. You're scared of Reincarnation, so you set your cards, and then they just Heavy Storm Duster you, and you're just behind. Just nuts. So overall, I think the deck was really well built. I think there was a lot of thought put into it. I feel the hand trap ratios were really on point, and I feel that was one of the deciding factors. I feel that the time that was put into this deck, and just the way it performed, if you watch any of the matches on the Konami live stream, which you guys can see, you'll see how he played, and he played very well in all of his matches, and even when his games were slow, he still came out. Overall, I think those are the reasons why this deck won. I feel Gozen match was an amazing call. It did so much for the deck, and it really carried the deck home, and it really, brought the whole deck full circle to why it won Worlds. And overall, those are my thoughts. I'd like to know in the comments below what you guys think. Why do you guys feel pure Trickstars won Worlds? And I don't want every comment to be because of time, because we're going to eliminate time. If time wasn't a factor, could this deck still win Worlds? I believe it could, and I say that because, again, this deck was very well built, and it really was built to counter the meta at Worlds. And that's one thing you have to remember, is even though the tournament was different, even though the ban list was different, you still build your deck according to whatever format you're in, and you build your deck to give you the best advantage against every other deck in the room. And I think that's exactly what Wang did, and that's why he's our 2018 World Champion. So yeah, that's all I got to say, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to support the video with a like. Leave me a comment below what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.